Hi there, folks. Frank Zorrilla here, Zor Capital, the 4th of March. I'm doing a little weekly video looking at weekly charts of interest. So typically I normally do or normally focus on daily swing trades that might last, 1 to 10 days. Now I'm going to include a little different strategy for longer term trades, looking at weekly charts, looking for a bigger piece of the pie. The way I look at trading, for example, is or my portfolio is, number one, you have different strategies across the board, and you also have different time frames. I'm not a big fan of just doing one thing and one thing only. Well, that might work for certain people. I believe that you just got to have that. You got to bring different gloves to the ball game. Okay, the game nowadays is pretty much changing, where you can't just come in and say, "Hey, I'm going to focus on X, Y, Z," and that's it. It's like similar to the NBA players nowadays, that you have 7-footers who can shoot threes, dribble the ball. They have more of a complete game than a 7-footer from years ago that all he did was just stay under the rim looking for rebounds. So I believe that you have to have different strategies, different time frames. So let's look at some weekly charts that look good for this week, that I have an interest in these stocks, getting involved in these stocks, if and only if they're able to break through last week's highs. The first one is NVCR, looks real good. The stock has been trading sideways, had a real nice move here, has been trading sideways for roughly 7.5 months. I've been involved in the stock, down here at 1160 for a daily swing. I've been involved here and here for a daily swing that didn't work out, that I think worked out a little bit. But just recently I got involved here on the weekly chart on 122, I believe. So 122 has got to be right over here, one of these highs. Either way, I got involved at 2190. Stock had a decent move higher, but then it sold off here and it broke down, and I was stopped out on earnings related news. But here was a little shakeout, and the stock is now back and had a nice rebound after this earnings shakeout, which is right over here, this candle. And it's looking real good. And I like this stock going through 2175, which is roughly the high here in this day, with a stop here at 1920. And I think it can go much higher. And again, the stock's been trading for, sideways for 7.5 months. And all that means very simply is that I'm looking at this chart. Stock goes from $9 to $20 a share. Okay, that's incredible accumulation. But more importantly, the buyers who bought the stock have had no interest in taking profits for the most part. And whatever sellers are out there from this move, it's either not a lot or the buyers are taking up all the stock. To me, that is extremely bullish. And I like the stock, like I said, going through 2175. The stock right over here at $19 a share. SNBR. It's a stock that's been trading sideways for a very long time. What does that mean? Roughly 6 years of sideways action, for the most part. No net movement. Sleep Number Corporation. I like the stock going through here, 36.51, with a stop at the low of the week, which is roughly 33.73. Call it $33 a share. And again, the bigger the base, the bigger the sideways action, the higher into space it goes. More than likely, number one and number two, the longer it's going to trend. MDR, oil and gas equipment services, looking real good. Had a real nice move. Has been trading sideways for about a year, 1.2 to 14 months. And nice little cup and handle. You can see here how the stock is starting to tighten up. Higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. I like the stock going through 777 with a stop at roughly, call it 690. And I'm looking for higher prices. Here is my rolling 5-week watch list. Let's see if we can find something that's interesting. This was a good one. SPAR. Let's see here, PPG, EXTN. ZGNX, interesting situation. This stock had a huge move on the back of some FDA news, has been trading sideways for a long time. If you follow me on Twitter, I've pointed out this stock numerous times on the daily time frame and also weekly time frame. I'm long the stock. All these yellow little arrows just means that's when I got involved. I'm involved, with a certain amount of shares on a daily time frame and some on a weekly time frame. We were able to take profits just recently as high as 15% because we're involved at roughly 37.08. This stock is looking real good. You can see here the 10-day and 20-day moving averages. That looks great. You can see here a pattern of lower highs. Stock still looks good. Had a nice little pullback that was buyable this week. BMRN, nothing here. Etsy, it's another one that we flagged right over here on going through this high. We got involved in 1913. We sold the stock right over here before they came out with their numbers and sold the stock, up 10, 12.5%. Stock came out with their numbers just last week, had a nice move. Now it's a matter of having it set up again. TDLC, we've had this on the list for a while. We did not get involved here because they were coming out with their numbers. The numbers are out of the way. This looks good. This thing has been trading sideways for a while. We'll see if it pulls back before we pull the trigger. BlackBerry, mentioned this, on the blog recently. We got involved in 2.6. The stock's been trading sideways for 6 years. And this is exactly what you want to see. When you see a base like this, right? First of all, this stock has at one point here from 2011 straight down. I mean, this thing was, the sellers were in control. It finally found some equilibrium here, and the stock starts to trade sideways. So here the sellers were completely in charge. Anytime the stock went up to the 10-day, to the 20-week or 20-week moving average, you had these sellers, and they sold the stock here. They find equilibrium. You have the buyers and sellers battling it out. They're just battling back and forth. But as you can see here, the buyers have started to take control. Higher low, and then it finally gets above this resistance level. It comes back, it retests that level, and now it's bouncing off that level again. This is exactly what you want to see in the base. You want to see the buyers take control, which clearly they are here. This stock is still actionable. It looks real good. I'm long the stock, and you can either play it tight with a stop at 11.50 or give it some more room and give it till 10.90. BB looks good. ATSG, nothing there. VRX, we were involved here. Scratch trade. Reason why that we took it off before the earnings came out. UPLD looks good. BB we spoke about. LULU sideways for 6 years. We got involved at 82.67. We took advantage of this pullback here and added to the stock. The stock looks real good. Sideways for 6 years. And again, here you can see the pattern of lower highs, looking for higher prices. FC, nothing there. OTEX, stock's been trading sideways for a year or so, a year and a half. We've been involved with the stock here, the yellow arrows here. This was an earnings gap. It gapped, the market sold off, the stock sold off, still looks real good. Here at 34.84 with a stop here, I call it at $33 a share. WTI, watching. AVEL looks okay, but it's a biotech, so in a situation like this stock looks interesting to me, going through 299. LULU we spoke about. Camp looks okay, but again, for this week, NVCR looks actionable to me, going through 21.75. Typically what I do, I'll have a buy stop at 21.85. If I get triggered in, I'm in. If I don't, I don't. SNBR, same thing. Normally I would put a buy stop 10 cents above last week's high, 36.51. MDR, same exact thing. And again, we're looking for for these stocks to break these consolidations and start to trend higher, for weeks and perhaps even months. So trade them well and be well, and I'll see you guys next week.